All right, here is your 0.9 October 1st update of DC20, where it's at, what's going on, what's the status, and all this kind of stuff, and a little bit of a hint as to maybe when 0.9 might be coming out too. Crazy. I know I never say dates, and even the date I might be going to say, don't hold me to it. I'm going to be doing the best we can here. So here's the big picture. 0.9. The good news, bad news here. Bad news as far as what things have caused delays in 0.9 being done. I initially first wanted to be done at the end of October. That was when I first thought of it. That was the thing. But some things, which I'm going to show and talk about all in this video, have came up, which is the bad news of delays are always categorized as bad news, but it's necessary bad news because what we've been doing is polishing off the classes in preparation for attaching subclasses to these things. Just like you saw going from 0.7 to 0.9, there was a class rework, and a lot of the classes got entirely reworked. But there's been playtesting and tons of playtesting. If you compare us to any system out there, I know there's a bunch of systems out there floating around right now. We are doing a lot of playtesting. We're getting a lot of feedback, making a lot of tweaks and changes. I'm currently spamming one-shots of a bunch of different types of things myself, team, community, everybody. So there has been some things coming through the cracks as far as those level 1 and 2 features, absolutely polishing them off to fix things. An entire rework of a fighter from the ground up. Feature reworks, and I'll talk about all of that and kind of go through each class right here as well. But that has to happen before we do subclasses, because if we do subclasses and attach them to level 1 and 2 features that then get changed, then we have to fix that, and it's just not, we are trying to go slow at first so that we can speed up and build up faster, right? Because as soon as 0.9 comes out, I want to keep going, rolling right on into the next and the next and the next. So here's the big picture. The big update, if you haven't heard about this one, I've been talking about these in live streams all the time as far as early information I talk about. I do live streams. If anybody didn't know this, I do live streams every Thursday, 8:30 Central Standard Time. I do patron only live streams every Wednesday morning, and every week, live streams every week. So here is the update of what the big picture change is. And it led to some ripple changes as well for all classes. At level 2, this was always the intent, but if you didn't know this, at level 2, you are going to be getting, instead of having 2 class features and 1 talent, you are going to be getting 1 class feature and a talent. Now, if a class has 2, at level 2, if they get 2 class features, probably one of those is staying as is, and the other one is going to be converted into a class talent. So it's probably not going away unless there's some sort of rework going on there. But it was never truly the intention to have at level 2, you get 2 class features and a talent, which you can go get a third class feature from another. Oh my gosh, that's a big power boost. It's too much power scaling as far as like a big jump from level 1 to 2. I don't want to have these massive jumps from level to level, right? Level 1 to level 2, I want to be a smooth jump. It's going to be a nice solid jump. You get all the little doodads, but you only get 1 class talent as far as, you only get 1 class feature and a talent that you can go spin on whatever you want, or you get the idea. So that's the new change, which is technically, if you want to call it, a nerf to all classes, because instead of 2 class features and a talent, you only get 1 and a talent. But I think that it's a much healthier spot for the game and a much smoother curve for power scaling as you level up. Now, what that causes is a ripple effect through all 13 classes, because every single class, all 13 of them, had 2 class features. So pretty much the simple thing is one of them has been plucked, like I said, to be a talent, and the other one stays, is in general how things have worked. You'll see that as you know, more things get revealed as time comes closer. But what also happened is some class fixes and reworks. So I have a list right here of every single class that has the little tweaks and changes. I'm not going to outline each change, what it is, how it is, because again, this could change in the next month or so. So I don't want to say it. I'm going to talk about the general picture of what's going on, and then y'all will be able to see a good vision of what the game's going to look like for those classes to be able to be leveled up to level 3 and lock in those subclasses. So there are 5 classes that did not get changed at all. Props to them. Barbarian, Commander, Ranger, Sorcerer, Monk. No changes. Barbarian, Commander, Ranger, Sorcerer, Monk. No changes. Super solid. Props to them. Awesome stuff. There are some changes as far as the features at level 2, and things have been popped out and moved around. But in general, they were good to go. And then I'll also say the Druid is currently under construction. We are having that's the literal thing we're working on this week. It's the last class to be kind of making sure we do a little scan on it. Because I'll give a little bit of hints to this. The Druid wild form is under fire right now. We are analyzing it, especially analyzing it in regards to the Circle of the Moon Druid. It's not going to be called Circle of the Moon Druid, but there is going to be a subclass for Druid where it amplifies their wild form. But what does that look like? We have to see what that level 3 looks like. We have to see what the level 1 looks like. How does it scale? How does it interact? In what ways is the Circle of the Moon Druid going to be able to boost their wild form? You get the idea. So Druid's under construction right there. But now here's the list of the other things. The Rogue and Bard. The Rogue and Bard were sneaky. Literally, I guess. The Rogue and Bard, if nobody knew this, is in the class table. Every single class, all 13 classes, the Rogue and the Bard were the only 2 classes that actually had different skills on the skill tables. If you look at the skill tables, they actually get more skills by default than any other class. And it wasn't accounted for through features, and it wasn't it was like this sneaky backdoor. You just get more skill points. Shh, don't tell anybody, right? That's not as far as the accountability of classes and class balance and power budgets for all the classes and being able to manipulate that, and multi-classing, being able to pick up certain things. There was a whole section of Bard stuff that you couldn't get to because it was embedded into the table itself. So long story short is Rogues and Bards have had those skills on their skill tables removed from the skill tables and added to their class features. So now Bards, for example, one of their class features is going to give them more skills in the actual class feature that you could multi-class and go pick up if you wanted to feel more Bard-like, instead of it being buried in the table where you could not access it in any way if you were another class trying to dip in, right? And then Rogues in the same way. They are going to be able to have some of their things condensed. Cunning Action and some other things are condensed into Cunning Action and their expertise feature, and things are being condensed together. So that's where your skill is going to be, and you're going to be able to get more skills through your class talents and through your class features instead of into the table, right? So that's a quality of life thing for the Bard and Rogue. And also Rogue, while we're at it, is Thieves Can't. It's a flavor feature, but we're still talking about flavor, y'all. Thieves Can't has been changed to cipher, a cipher language, right? Cipher speech is what it's called. Instead of Thieves Can't, where you have these sneaky thief signals you can do, cipher speech is a new language a new secret language, you can call it. It can be a high society, low society, political, between siblings. You and your sibling have a secret language where you know that this means something between you and your twin sibling or something. You can have a cipher speech, and that's the language you choose, is twin speak between you and your twin, or a secret spy language, or a bounty hunter language, or a thieves can't language, or the slums, a certain language of the slums, or a certain language of high society. And you understand that if you do, and you know how to, certain things and get across secret messages and stuff. So it's basically taking thieves can't and expanding it. I probably went off on that tangent a little bit longer, but I do think it's a cool little flavor thing. And Bards, technically on paper, were the most overpowered class in the game. They got the most amount of power budget with the things that they got at level 1. They got a bardic performance. They got more spells. They got a remarkable weapon. You can pick spells from anywhere. You got more skills. And then at level 2, you got 2 more features. Bards were just loaded up. And also, bardic performance was one of the highest performing individual class features. It is very strong. If you have not play tested it, do the performance where you gain 1 temporary hit point at the start of every. Oh wow, it's pretty strong. 1 temp HP at the beginning at level 1 is a lot. That's a big percentage of the health pool. So bardic performance has been moved to 2nd level. And some things have been reorganized and restructured, like I just talked about with the skills and talents, to clean up that 1st level. And now 1st levels is much more balanced, and Bards aren't overloaded in that way. So Bards are in a much better spot now and fit in line with everybody else. Wizard has some clarifications, small changes for Wizard. Is Arcane. Arcane only spells is in their spell schools. It says you could pick a school and learn spells from that school that are only arcane. People were taking restoration and then going to the divine list of spell schools and stuff like that. it's designed to be arcane only spells. This will make more sense whenever it was 0.10 releases, which is all the spell overhaul of everything. So that isn't a huge thing right now, but that was the intent of the rule in the first place. And the flavor feature again for wizards has been updated. Instead of a spell book where you have the spells and your game master has to give you scrolls to be able to put into your book, and it runs into the same problems that D&D wizards run into. The wizard feature still has the class fantasy of having the ability to learn more spells, but it's actually codified through every time you gain a wizard class feature, you gain a new spell in that way. So you will be learning spells, but they will be ritual spells. And it's a ritual caster type of situation where you have a book that you can learn ritual spells in, and you are really good at casting ritual spells as your flavor feature. So I think it's a perfect person to get that for the wizard. So there's that. Spellblade, super simple fix here. There was a fix on the Hex Warrior feature. There wasn't a save attached to it, so that's been adjusted to where it's all contests should be a spell check versus a save on the enemy's part to contest in that way. So the save aspect of the Hex Warrior for Spellblade has been adjusted, but that's literally it there. Warlock has with their features, there was a level 1 feature they had that was like Sacrificial Bond or whatever. It's been changed. A lot of the wording of Warlock and the feel or the vibe of Warlock, ever since it's been released, there was a lot of concerns by the community that I've absolutely heard all of you guys on about. It's too blood themed. It's too emo themed. It's too dark. It's too, you know what I'm saying? Because what if you have an angel patron? You know what I'm saying? So all of the language of the Warlock has been kind of reframed. Instead of like blood, life, health, everything being a setback, you're paying health to be able to gain a benefit. The concept is you are having a cost of some kind to be able to get a benefit. That cost might be health. The cost might be exhaustion. The cost might be you're exposed. The cost could be different things for a benefit of some kind, right? So it's not like I'm just spending my life essence or my blood or anything like that. You're going to be able to have a patron that is not just all purely evil. If you're wanting to have like a morally gray patron or an angel patron or whatever, that's going to be possible, especially with the new phrasing, and the flavor of it is not so dialed towards that. That's one big thing. And then changes at first level is some of the things that having to do with spending health have been removed, and we have added a way for warlocks to be able to heal themselves at first level, because it's important. Because if you are spending health and losing health, you're going to need to be able to find a way to gain back health so that there can be like a churning system, right? Not any sort of infinite loops where you can spend health to gain health to use health, nothing like that. But we want to be able to have warlocks have some sort of healing capacity in that way. So there's that for warlocks, and that leaves us to the last two and the biggest two, which was cleric and fighter. Cleric has a level 1 feature rework in their divine order. Their divine order was you can choose to be a Templar or a priest or a scribe, right? So you have your tank, your healer, and like your knowledge-based skill person, right? Okay, so that was what it was, and you had some little other things with having to do with radiant damage and other things like that. The problem is that was at level 1, and then at level 3 were going to be your domains and your domain of this and choosing your god and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh man, I don't think this is right. This is wanting to. I don't want to go through the whole design process of how the whole thing happened, because it's a long story. The cleric alone has been some of the biggest reasons of any sort of delays happening. To blame the cleric, but instead of having your domains happen at level 3 and having your subclass choose your god, which is pretty late to establish that type of level of flavor, right? We are switching those two things. So at level 1, clerics are going to be getting a class feature called Divine Domain or whatever it's called. But there's going to be, right now there are 15 different options, just like Spellblade, spell disciplines, and they have that list of options they can choose from. Clerics are going to have a list of options, and you can pick 2, and you have a list of options, and you can pick 2 to be able to create your own domain for your own god. There's going to be things like fire. There's going to be things like war, peace, chaos, order, life, death, light, dark. You get the idea, right? And they're going to have a ton of different things to be able to mix and match. Like, ooh, I want to serve a cleric of the grave or whatever, right? You're going to have those options to be able to pick 2 at level 1. Awesome. And then at level 3, you're going to be able to choose. At level 1, you choose who your god is and all that kind of stuff through your domains. At level 3, you choose how you serve. How do you act out this power you have there's going to be a healing subclass. There's going to be a, you know, more so like tanky type subclass. There's going to be the scribe type subclass with all the skills. There's going to be a adjudicator. There's going to be all the different types of stuff that clerics can go do. A banisher, someone that cleanses things, that cleanses conditions, someone that can remove things from enemies, someone that can dominate. Whatever. You're going to have subclasses for cleric based on how you want to play your cleric instead of what domains they are, right? So anyway, I think that solves a lot of problems as well, because if you want to play like a healing cleric, you don't have to be like, oh, well, I have to serve the life domain. You know, no. Pick whatever domains you want. You could be war and fire. Sure, that could be your domain, and you could be a healing cleric of that god. Absolutely, go for it, right? So those things I think are very exciting. And then finally, the fighter was entirely reworked from the ground up, and I did talk about the fighter, and I had a video where I released all the things about fighter. You can check that one out. But basically, they have both of their level 1 features were brand new, and the level 2 feature is also new. You got more maneuvers. You get the technique master, which is part of that now. So technically, that's still that's still part of it. And then the fighting spirit is a cool buff that fighters get whenever combat first starts. You get to choose an offensive buff or a defensive buff, and then you get that. And then whenever a fighter becomes bloodied, that's when their second wind kicks in. They heal for a little bit, get a little bit more stamina back, and they're ready to go and crack them knuckles. Did you hear that? Oh, ow, I hate doing that. Anyway, that is the fighter. And then at level 2, they gain a D8 tactical dice, which is being able to add to your attacks, to your attack checks, or you could subtract the D8 from enemies' attack checks. So super cool. Fighter's in a really great spot now. I'm super excited about all the classes in this lineup. And then that brings us to subclasses. So I announced this last time. Sorcerer subclasses for 0.9 are going to be the Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer and the Celestial Bloodline Sorcerer. And the third one to be released at a later time that's not 0.9, but is going to be in the future, is Wild Magic. Ooh. I do a lot of these announcements in live streams as well, so check that out. I always post on Discord whenever. Link to Discord's in the description too. I always post on Discord what it's going to be about and what I'm going to be announcing, and I always do it at the first part of the stream, and then I do a Q&A afterwards, so there's that. And then the Ranger, it's going to be a Witcher themed. It's not going to be called Witcher because copyright reasons, but The Witcher, if you're familiar with that game series, you're going to be able to hunt monsters better, put little oils on your weapon, and alchemically boost yourself to be able to hunt and track and kill things better. The Witcher and the other 3 are kind of up in the air right now. We're still talking about, there's a Trapper Ranger, there's a Planar Ranger, and there's a Power Ranger. I'm just kidding, there's not a Power Ranger. But lots of really cool and exciting things happening with all the subclasses. There's the big update. I can't wait to show you guys more, and I can't wait to see what happens 1 month from now and how much progress gets made, because truly I have been able to move things around in the aftermath of all of this craziness, and I really feel like now is the best time to be able to have things locked in and really see how far we can push 0.9. And I said at the beginning I would say it, and so I will say it, I almost forgot, is my best estimate for 0.9 is for sure by this year. That is my goal. I do not want it to go into the end of the year. I want it to be I'm just going to say December. It's going to be a Christmas present, right? Hopefully an early Christmas present. So don't quote me on that, but I want to give you guys a Christmas present of DC20 0.9, and it's going to be a huge, huge thing. That's my goal. That's my hope. Cross fingers crossed. I'm not going to wait till that. If it's ready sooner, it's ready sooner. And if it's ready later, I'm going to, dang it. But I will keep you guys posted in these as well. And that's probably the only time I'm ever going to say a date. Don't maybe ask me for dates again, because I know I'm trying here. So there's the whole thing. Stay creative, think outside the box.